Welcome to another Sunday night. My name is Joey Galvez, and that is my pal Benjamin W. Morrison. You guys are watching Explain Yourself. Man, that was a crazy, crazy game. I don't know if you guys are out there watching the football games today, but man, that was a wild one. Ben, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Man, I almost didn't make it here. If that had gone to overtime, I did make some difficult choices.
I really- I was saying the same thing. I was like, it was a 2 point game. If they would have, we were talking about how if they didn't make a couple of 2 point conversions, if they would have done that, it would have been gone into overtime, and we'd probably not be here right now. So
We'd be
you
we'd
guys
be
are
looking
lucky.
over here. Everybody's got the game on the other screen. Like, wait, what'd you
Yeah,
say?
we
Yeah,
just
yeah, cool.
yeah, we just be talking, but our guest really loves the sound of their own voice. So just kidding. I love this person. This is one of my favorite people. We're gonna have Alan Dunford come in and talk a little bit about his book, Horse in Hell, 1 through 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1 through 3. It sounds like I was saying counting 1, 2, 3. But
Yeah,
Alan,
wait, it's something you
how
just learned. Yeah. Hey, what's up?
How's it going? Good to have you back,
Hey
man.
guys, yeah, I am so happy to be here. Obviously, love both you guys so much. And yeah,
but
let's
you would have taken the reins of the whole show if we would have just been back and forth. You could have just handled it on your own, right?
yeah, I mean, probably, right.
Yeah.
I've seen what you guys do. I mean, doesn't seem,
He's
it
like
doesn't,
anybody can do
It's
it.
not that
doesn't
hard.
seem
Yeah,
too
easy.
bad, right? Yeah, no, for real. Thank you guys for having me on, and thank you guys for everything that you guys do for the indie community. I just appreciate it.
It's all
Yeah.
about you guys. It's all about Alan Moneybags Dunford.
I wish.
We're
We
just
should
I'm
we,
just
we need to
teasing
put
you.
that in your caption at the bottom.
Yeah.
I need you to fix that.
I'm just teasing you a little bit because your campaign right now, you got one issue 1 through 3 right now live on Kickstarter. You
Mhm.
guys got 15 days left. You have 242 backers, and it is $1,200. You guys are getting close to 12,700. Very very close, very close.
Yeah.
Dude, this is your most successful campaign so far, right?
Yeah. Like I said, like our biggest campaign was Horus One. We made 12 or 10,000 like $500 after like a 3 week campaign. We hit 10 grand on this one in less than 48 hours.
Wow.
Like, dude, it's just crazy. Just the
Wow.
yeah, the support for Horus and what we're doing, man, is just it's nuts.
And this time around, this is the first time you guys are introducing something new, right?
Yeah, we kind of took a risk, and I hope that it pays off, and it looks like it has. But yeah, we actually brought toys in on this one. We were very methodical and very careful with this because we wanted to make sure that we got it right. But yeah, we actually have Horus action figures on
That's
this.
okay. This is crazy. These are high quality resin, right? They're not
Yes,
they're not 3D printed.
correct. Yeah, we wanted to
Which
make sure
Mhm.
that we got that right. You know what I mean? Like we didn't want to.
I remember you
Oh,
talking about wanting to do these, and you were debating on if vinyl was gonna work or not.
hmm
Is
Yeah,
that
so like I said, it was just we found some people that wanted to give us the best possible quality, and we talked about shipping and how to do it. So kind of we looked at like Sideshow Toys, for example, Sideshow Collectibles. Their stuff comes in like separated through magnets, and that's what we did here. So if you guys go on the campaign, you could click the video, and it kind of shows the demo for how they work. You can actually take the heads off and the weapons, so everything's interchangeable with how the hands are, and you can have the heads on different bodies and everything.
so the toys are small little pink Horus bunnies, right? You
Mhm.
guys, that's the character of your story there, and they're about what 1.5 2 inches tall.
2 inches. Yep.
2 inches tall. The heads come off. Do
Mhm.
they also come with toys or
Yeah,
something to put in their
yeah.
hands?
Accessories is the word you're looking
Accessories.
for,
There we
Joey.
go.
Yeah.
Toys. You know what? Listen, I've been known to. Never mind.
Do the toys come with toys? Yes, they do.
People get mad when I call their collectibles like their Legos and their
Yeah.
collectibles toys. Like
Yeah.
it's
So
they're
yeah,
my toys.
we have three different ones. We have a horse with a battle axe, a horse with a lollipop, and a horse with a carrot. So, you like I said, you can just interchange those three out.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And
They
do the,
look
so
fantastic. I
okay,
definitely
so
want to ask you more about how you got those produced when we get there.
yes, that's a good. We're gonna talk a little bit about that, but I want to know. Okay, so if I were to get one of them, what comes with one of those toys?
Okay, so we set it up to where the three I just mentioned. So there's horse with an axe, horse with a lollipop, and horse with a carrot. So you could buy each one of them individually at any physical tier for $12 each, or you can get all three in a 3 pack for 30.
Okay,
Um, you know,
that's not too bad.
yeah, like we wanted to make sure that we priced as good as we could, but to peek behind the curtain, these are the most expensive things to produce that's on the campaign by far.
I bet, yeah, because they're custom and you guys are not are these going to be limited? They're not going to be mass produced, all right? Right?
No, so these things are made to order, and we don't know if we'll bring them back on the next campaign yet or not,
Mm,
because we
okay.
might run a series two. So like I said, I don't want to lie to you guys and be like, nope, this is the last time you'll ever see them, and then we just don't do it, and then
Do it
we
again.
do it on the next one. Yeah. So, but like as of right now, we don't plan to do this set again. We do
Mhm.
plan to do a limited series two for
I
this.
love that. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's a handful of things that we're going to be doing here with some of our IP and our characters and stuff like that, where we're like, we're not. This is the thing, right? I had a one of my partners told me, when you have these ideas, don't pile them up. You know, I think
Mhm.
don't flesh them out. Have them, but like focus on one thing at a time. So
Yeah.
focusing on one thing at a time and not putting too much on your plate, especially when you got a big huge campaign that you got to deal with for a whole month or however long you're putting this thing
Mhm.
together. It's already crazy. Now you're throwing in comics and toys
Yeah.
and stickers and all kinds of other things. How are you guys managing to like market this stuff?
Um, I
It's a new space.
Dude, yeah, it's just like we're marketing it the same way that we marketed the book before, right?
Mhm.
We're just, of course, there's an emphasis on like, look at what we have this time, right? Because, I think that you can get complacent with saying, look at all these cool covers we got, done, right? Now it's like I think you can tell the enthusiasm through our posts and everything because it's like, yeah, listen, we got these toys and we're not slowing down either. Like, yeah, we hit goal early, but we want to keep going. I want to see a horse in every home in America.
You guys were only asking $2,000 goal. You guys are at 12,642, 242 backers, 15 days to go. Still live as of 1/26/2025. Ben, you got any questions?
I have a few, but before I get into that, I wanted to let anybody know if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, whether you're watching it live or later, you can get the links right to this Kickstarter campaign right down in the description. So you can just head down, scroll down there. You can get a link to this book or some of the other books we're going to mention later on in the show. But we want to make that as easy as possible for you to jump over and back this cool looking campaign.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, I have a bunch of questions, but we'll just start with. I know you've talked about this book with us before, but give us the quick pitch to Horace and Hell and his world, what he does, what the book's about.
Yeah, so Horse and Hell is a spin-off series from our main series that it's from is Pocus Hocus. And so that Pocus Hocus is about a magician that sells a soul to a demon to have actual magical powers. So and that bleeds into this one. Now, you don't have to read both to understand what's happening in Horse and Hell, and we set it up that way intentionally. So Pocus, he accidentally is trying to do a magic trick and he opens up a portal to hell in his hat and he pulls Horace out. Well, when he pulls Horace out, Horace thinks, oh, I'm finally getting my divine reward, right? Well, divine, demonic, however you want to look at it, right? He thinks it's the Dark Lord that is finally rewarding him for all of his years of service on Hell's battlefield. But then he pledges his soul to Pocus and his loyalty, right? Um, so now he's just kind of stuck on Earth with this drunk idiot magician. And then one day after a show, Pocus in his drunken stupor says, I'm going to pull another thing out of my hat, just like I did you. And the audience is going to love it. So he does that. He opens up the portal, but he passes out in the middle of it. So the portal stays open. So in the middle of that, Horace actually gets pulled back into hell, and it's his journey to get back home.
Very cool.
It's a very
So
stupid
kind of
concept.
No, it works. I think it's got legs.
There's a reason why there was an awkward pause. No, just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
it's
Ben, yeah,
no,
Ben's like,
I'm
he's like,
waiting.
how do I break this guy's heart?
I just didn't. I'm always trying not to cut anybody off, so I just wait a little bit of a second there and make sure we're not overlapping.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm waiting for the Spawn crossover. But other than
Yeah.
that, very good, very good concept. So I usually ask people about influences, books that they kind of been inspired by to kind of like when they're planning out their book, or maybe it just gave them the idea to do the book in the first place. Um, we do kind of get a lot of people doing humor books, which is
Yeah.
surprising because I think of like all the genres that work really well in comics that you see a lot of. You see a lot of horror, you see a lot of sci-fi, obviously, you see a lot of superheroes. Humor is a little tougher to do in comics, and yet we've seen a lot of creators
Mhm.
that have come on our show do a really cool job of it. Are there any like humor comics that really inspired you to do this and put this together?
I mean, I think probably Scotty Young. I hate Fairyland.
Mhm.
I think if I did that and
Yeah.
stuff like, granted, I know it's not directly inspired by this, or you can't see it in here, but Chew. I'm a really
I
big
can
fan
see
of
that.
Chew. Yeah,
No,
so
absolutely.
yeah, it's you just kind of take those things and those quips and the stuff that you see and learn, and just try to apply it to this.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I definitely see the influence in the art. And tell me a little bit about the art process too. The colors look great. The line works fantastic. Just is this the same team that works on the main book?
No, so this is a different team. The on Pocus Hocus Main, it's you got Kit or God bless him. We're getting ready to talk about him. You got Brian Belando, who's done all the interiors. He did that for Grandma Chainsaw, and then Carrie Salviejo, who's on Collars. On this one, this is actually drawn by Kit Wallace. He draws and colors it. So Kit, I love him to death. He has been around since I started this. Granted, Kit's been doing comics a lot longer than I have, but Kit, um, how do I? It's like a sentimental type thing. Like for him being where he is in the upper echelon, I like to say. Granted, he'd probably disagree with me on that because Kit's a very humble guy. Um, he 100% did not need to give me a cover or anything whenever I first started because granted I'm still a nobody, but I had no credits or credentials or anything to be like, yeah, I promise I'm a good dude and I'll pay you. You know what I mean? Like so Kit he just was he put it out there for me and then just gave me a cover for Pocus Hocus 1 and we've been involved with each other ever since. And you'll see that like every book that I do that I'm solely attached to, I always try to have a Kit Wallace cover on there because obviously I love that dude so much. And I've told him this before. I'm a fan of his art before I was his friend or however you want to look at it. And the same thing goes with Brian Belando. But yeah, and we'll get into more of it later. Then this kind of relationship spread off to us creating a book together, Kit and myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really great to see people teams kind of stay together
Hmm.
and produce some stuff. I mean, I think that's fun for backers too to follow. And I think just as comic
Mhm.
fans, we kind of like seeing those teams kind of take shape.
Mhm.
Even if it's not in every project. But back to the story a little bit. So this is the third issue. Is this the last issue of this arc?
No, actually, issue
Okay.
4 will be the last
Okay. Great.
issue. Yep. So, issue 4 will end volume 1 or however you want to look at it for Horus and Hell. And then we've kind of been talking about it now, but the next series after this will be Horus in Heaven. So we're really trying to play off the divine comedy aspect of it, and we just thought that was a really fun way to take this thing.
Cool. Cool. Definitely seems like a good place to take it. Tell us a little bit about. So this is the third issue. You
Mhm.
kind of gave us the breakdown on like the premise of it, which I assume is mostly the first issue.
Yep.
But kind of get us up to speed on what's happened before now.
Oh God, where do I even begin?
Like who's the bad guys? Who's he fighting
Yeah,
with? What's been happening?
so this is like kind of a little bit of a different approach that we wanted to take with this thing. So we haven't even seen our big bad yet. we wanted this thing to kind of have its own legs and its own merits, right? So one thing that we really wanted to do with this, of course, aside from getting everything right, was build a world first before we built a problem. The problem that we have at hand, though, is Horace's brother Boris is the one who actually pulled him down, because Boris kind of had a bone to pick with Horace anyway by saying, "Hey, your magician friend, he keeps opening up this portal and pulling people down, and they don't always come back." Right. Uh, so now we have that set up, and then it's kind of a what's in it for me. It's like, I'll get you out of here, but you have to help me. And he's his Horace's brother Boris is a mercenary that's been hired to capture something that was stolen from the Dark Lord, or Satan, however you want to look at it, right? And now it's kind of a mission to get that item back. And of
Okay,
course,
so we have a MacGuffin we're chasing.
yes. So it's a what's in it for me situation, and we really try to have fun with that and kind of spin it on its head. I mean, and here's the thing: Boris is up to no good. You know that from the second you meet him, right? And we kind of love having that in your face early. It's not going to be a big twist of like, oh no, right? Like, but you were kind of like hinting at certain things, and Horace is even like, I know you're just going to betray me at some point, right? Like you're an evil dude.
Well, I mean, everybody in this is in hell, so I kind of
Yeah,
assume nobody is terribly trustworthy,
right.
all things considered.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I gotta say I was blown away by the art. It kind of has like what I was gonna say. I definitely see Scotty Young and Rob Guillory. Is that the guy who does Chew? But I also see like a little bit of Daniel Warren Johnson in this. Like the brushwork and everything is got all this energy, and it keeps this like cartoony style, but it has a lot of structure. And I mean, I couldn't have been more impressed with this stuff.
Well, yeah, listen, like so, and that's again, hats off to the creative team. Like, Joey, we've talked about this so many times before, man. But you know, I put the words on the paper. They make it have legs, and it's just they do so much more
Yeah.
than what I could ever ask. So
Yeah, excellent,
Yeah.
excellent team. Yeah.
It
100%.
really is. I was going to say, do you pretty much just let them run wild with like, here's the
Oh
script,
yeah,
go
yeah,
with
dude.
it?
I
Um,
think that if I were to tell them, no, let's do it this way or do it that way, like I said, at the top of the show, like Kit has been in this way longer than I have. I would
mhm.
be a fool to not trust his judgment, or if he sees something that I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at some of the colors and just the way these all flow, I'm like, I think you guys, I didn't wanted to confirm and not put my foot in my mouth, but
Mhm.
it seems like you really gave them a free hand to do things in, I
Oh,
think, the most dynamic way possible. And that's something as an artist, you really, I think people kind of assume that your input is from a perspective of like, oh, I just want to make it a little easier on myself, or I want more of a hero shot so I could sell the page, or, that's kind of, I think, the
mhm.
common conception of people's like creative input clashes with artists. But I think a lot of times you look at the script and the amount of things that have to happen on a panel and on a page and what needs to be emphasized, a lot of it's just logistical. Like, okay,
Mhm.
for this to make sense, I need to put this here. And that's before you even start worrying about making everything look good. But I
Right.
think you got stuff here that's just such professional stuff. I can kind of tell you had somebody who knew what they were doing, who really ran with it, with your story here.
Yeah, and that's the big thing too, right? Is like is trusting your artist, because I not to like tell anyone how to do anything, but what's worked best for me is, especially from where I've worked with Kit for so long and worked with Brian for so long, and even before then, I read stuff that they've worked on, so that way I kind of had a
Mhm.
feel for what they, or for what they, I don't want to say what they're capable of, but what they like to do, right? So
Mhm.
I always tried to make sure that I was writing for my artist.
I think you see like interviews with every big writer I can remember, Scott Snyder,
Hmm.
Miller, anybody who I can just remember in an interview. They always have said like I kind of go to my in some cases they go to their artist and say, hey dude, I've got like my basic idea, but like what do you want to draw? I can probably work it in.
Hmm.
Um, but even short of that, which is not something I think you'd expect every time. They're always really like writing to their artist's strengths,
Right.
knowing like, hey, this guy does this really well. I'm going to make sure I don't just have Greg Capullo draw a bunch of talking heads for 2 issues or something like that.
Right.
And I think that's a smart thing to do, especially when you have such a great team of artists to lean on here.
Oh, dude, listen. I am not, how do I word this? I know my place, and I know that Kid is way better than I deserve, and I know that Dave is way better than I deserve. So, I will always, always, always shout those guys out to the rooftops. Like, for real, they are just some of the most incredible people to work with, professional and everything. Yeah, it's just I just try to I just think that the people I'm surrounded myself with are just so good at what they do, and I'm just very fortunate to be making books with them.
Yeah, I mean the results are really fantastic. So you mentioned that he's going to get himself out of this jam presumably in issue 4, have it out with his brother and all that, and then go on to getting some adventures in heaven, which reminds me of a lot of. I guess I'm just got Image Comics in the brain because I remember Savage Dragon and Spawn both doing that
Yeah.
independently of each other. But if you, without spoiling anything, what can you tease about the next issues and the resolution of this, but then also where it's going to go after this story?
Yeah, so I we set up a couple things, especially starting in this issue 3, where you can kind of see like, okay, cool. So we're getting to where we need to get to, so that way we can have uh, Boris's story come to a close with Horace, their time together, right? And then we're going to end it to where this could be done here, right? Like issue 4, you could have it could have it's going to have an open ending to it, but we already know that we're going to be going to the next spot, which is heaven, because the events of this series of Horse and Hell lead the forces of heaven to have no choice but to reach out to hell's most fierce general.
Hmm.
All right. Which is Spawn, I think.
Yes,
But
which is Spawn.
maybe
Yes.
not in this. Maybe not in this universe.
Yep.
But we'll talk to Todd McFarlane. We'll see if we can make it happen. But okay, I guess the last question I had on kind of the creative side of things is you mentioned that this guy was sort of a supporting character in Pocus Hocus.
Mm-hmm.
Was it something where you kind of had this idea? You'd sort of, cause I kind of have 2 different things with my stories. I've got kind of a cool plot idea or a twist. I think, oh, that would be cool to do sometime, and I come across the characters or the setting that might work for it and think, okay, yeah, I'll do that now. Or I have a character that just kind of leaps off the page and demands something be done with them.
Mm-hmm.
This guy started off as a supporting character with your magician. Did you just kind of always want to do this story, or did you, once you were working with him in the other story, you thought, this guy's great, he could really go off in this other direction? Like, how did that kind of take shape with you guys?
Honestly, no. So we had a couple people actually asking us about Horse, because at Horse, like, we didn't even think about him. Like we just thought like, yeah, we just got this pink rabbit. It's just funny, right? It's we didn't have any backstory for it or anything. We just had this magical demonic bunny that was pink, and that we were literally just going to leave it there. And the less you knew, the better. That's kind of like that was our mentality with it, right? Well, we had people asking us like, hey, you guys should do like a Horse backstory. We want to know a Horse backstory. We're like, why? Yeah, like, why the hell do you want to know that? Like, it's we haven't really done anything with them. Who cares, right? But we were like, okay, whatever. We'll go ahead and give a Horse backstory, and then it originally started off as a 5-page ash can, or a no, sorry, 8-page ash can that Kit drew, and we were just selling that as an add-on, and then we kept getting more and more good feedback. And we're like, people were like, hey, we really like this. We really like this, and it's like. You had to really look inwardly. It's kind of like with the toy idea, right? Some people wanted the stuff and they asked about it. So yeah, that's great to make sure you're giving the fans what they want. But are the fans that are talking to you that want this stuff, are they just a vocal minority, and will they show up, right? Because it's expensive to start a new project anyway. And for one to not do well, especially one where you think, oh, people are asking for this, this is going to be great, and then it just flops, right? Because it's like, oh, well, I guess the 3 people that asked for it, they got it, instead of more people showing
Right.
up, right? Again, that was like with the toys, right? Like, so I had to find a manufacturer that was going to be able to do toys that were made to order, because again, I had to go in expecting to sell one or none at all, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole
Or a lot.
yeah, right, because the whole toy thing could have flopped on its face,
Yeah.
and then I've been just like, well, that was a waste of money, right? Um, but yeah, like I said, whenever we were really thinking about this and what to do with Horus and stuff, it was just a random occurrence.
He turned
Oh,
on
you
the.
keep guys. I
Yeah,
just.
let's go.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good. You're good. Yeah,
He
no,
turned on
man.
the
I was just going to play that in the
60.
background while we
Yeah,
were.
yeah. Get that baby on full screen. What are you doing? Is this a podcast for ants?
Yes,
So-
it is
I-
audio podcast only.
That's at least half our viewership. Don't
Yeah, no.
don't talk bad about the ants.
But no, guys, for real. Like I said,
And don't
it's,
talk bad about Jim, our one fan.
yeah. Oh, dude, Jim's so cool.
Yeah,
But
Jim
yeah,
is the coolest.
Jim is the coolest. But yeah, like I said, man, it was just one of those things where we just wanted to make sure that we did get Horus right too,
There we go.
just because where people were asking for it, we wanted to, we thought Kit was the right guy to continue on with the story and stuff, and here we are. Now it's frustrating from a writer standpoint, because we were really methodical with Grandma Chainsaw and Pocus Hocus about who, what, when, where, why, and all the characters' motivations and all this stuff. And with Horus, we're like, yeah, let's just have fun, yeah, just go crazy, whatever happens. And then it's more successful than the series it came from, right?
Mhm.
It's just funny how that happens sometimes, like the stuff
Sometimes
you don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like the. Oh, go ahead, man.
I see something else that's brand new here, right? This collector box that you guys have. Tell us a little bit about that.
We actually introduced the box idea on Horus 2, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, Horus 2. We introduced the box, and obviously so happy that we did, because it's a cool little thing to have. But then we just decided just to go ahead and just bring it back again for this one with a different graphic, different logo, different everything on it.
So what's inside?
It's going to be whatever you buy that we will package up inside of it. So it is a very empty box.
Okay, so that's what everybody's packages are going to be coming in.
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
Like,
great,
I mean, of course,
That's awesome.
there's an outer shell, because I don't want to tape that
Mhm.
thing up, because I want to
Right.
keep it as clean as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just a high quality cardboard box. I mean,
Okay.
it's we looked into the actual magnetic closing and stuff like that. No.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, the comic ones that they have. I have a couple of those ones.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
did not want you guys to have to pay for what I would have to pay for that either. So
Those-
I thought I was pushing my luck enough with the toys. So we'll see what happens with the next issue, of course.
Yeah, there's some really big swings here with. I love those boxes so much, man. I'm just waiting for the point where I think I've got enough of an audience to pull one of those things off, because I think they look
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
cool.
So
Yeah,
that's
those are
so
cool.
it's kind of like what we talked about, like, whenever I was finding someone that would do made to order stuff, right, for the for the toys. Boxes are not made to order. you have to get
Right.
you have to get a bare minimum of those
Mhm.
ones. And we wanted to make sure that we had an audience that was there for it as well.
Yeah.
And the last issue was a test run for that, and luckily for us, it did well.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the characters like this. I think, like, especially humor characters that have a good, that lend themselves, I think, to an action component too. You kind of have a Deadpool vibe. I think those characters always kind of like are audience favorites and always stick out, and are pretty successful.
Yeah, anthropomorphic, right? Go for it.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it works out. So I think that about does it for the creative questions I had. Joy will ask you some questions about the marketing, and I'm going to jump in here and ask you some questions about the toys, if the things I'm wondering don't come up. But we're going to play a few quick commercials here, and we will jump right back in. Your comics take a lot of time and effort to create. Way too much to have them get damaged while shipping to your backers. Gemini Comic Supply mailers keep your comics safe in transit, And with the code Geek Collective 10, you can get those mailers with 10% off your order. That's Geek Collective 10. Enter it at checkout to get 10% off.
Click that mouse and warp into All Ages of Geek's website, your ultimate portal to everything geek culture. Here you'll find articles that speak your language, from the latest anime buzz to the coolest tech trends. Our mission? To celebrate geekdom in all its glory. Whether you're a gamer, a comic enthusiast, a 90s kid, or an anime aficionado, we've got something for you. Dive deep into them with All Ages of Geek.
Thanks again, Ben, for making some awesome videos. He surprised me with that one too. We got a couple of different things that he's surprised me with. And yes, you guys can go if you guys are using Gemini mailers. Head on over to Gemini Mailing Supply and at checkout use Geek Collective 10 and get 10% off. Alan's used that a couple of different times. He said he was
I
like
have.
he said he saved like over $300 sometimes, depending on what you order. Dude, give us a little testimonial, a little bit about how that happened, Alan.
I mean, Joey. Here's the thing.
Was it easy?
I'm not going to stroke your ego anymore.
Please.
Only thing you have to know, and everyone listening or watching, it was cheaper for me to order through that with the Geek Collective discount code than it was for me to buy that off Amazon.
There you go. Yeah, and that's one of those things that I did as well. Seriously,
you happy? Okay.
That's the first thing that I did when I started looking at this. I said, okay, what is going to be the best bet, right? Because I heard that's one of those things that creators say too, like grab it on Amazon if you need to, right? Because sometimes it's going to be a little bit cheaper depending on where you are and how low, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, okay, cool. But then I saw that you could do this, and I said, how cool would it be if we can do that and just offer it to all of our friends? And that's kind of why we did it. And yeah, heck yeah. And I'm glad that you said that, because that's one of the things that I did. I did research, and I was like, there's got to be some way to get something. And I started looking all over the place for like a code for myself, and I just ended up signing up for this thing, and that's how we were able to do it. And it just happened to, it was like everything aligned where we were able to show numbers and all this stuff to show that we are capable of offering something like this. So it was just a really cool opportunity, and I'm glad that we're still able to kind of do that for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like I said, it's great. And plus, where I live, I think one of their shipping facilities is in North Carolina. Dude, I get my product in like 2 days, if that.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, like it's very quick.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And we do profit from that, right? But that goes right back into this, so that we can pay for things like this, so that we could pay Ben some money for the things that he does for the business as well. So it goes right back into the business, and then we can continue doing this for you guys as well. And which is why it makes you guys able to have this seat right here that Alan is occupying for free. So because we don't want it to our guests to have to pay money to be seen and to showcase their stuff. So we want to make sure it's safe, that it's not safe, that it's safe.
I want to make sure it's safe. Yeah,
I want to make sure
it's not safe. I've been under
you have
guys,
a presumption
it was safe. I promise this is safe, guys. I promise.
Safe place for everything, but a space is what I meant. A space. Anyway, check that out. Check out our friends over at All Ages of Geek for all kinds of really cool geeky stuff. Everything from anime to comic books and everything in between. They do some really cool stuff. They're going to be doing some great articles with us as well for our archetypes. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of you guys' marketing stuff. You guys have now implemented the boxes, the packaging. You guys are now implementing the toys. You guys got all kinds of really cool swag that you guys are going on. You guys have always kind of put these really cool swag items. You've always had, like, there was like an apron one time. There's t-shirts. Like, talk to us a little bit about your merch kind of ideas, because you've always had these merch items part of the campaign.
The big thing is we listen. So we try to ask, obviously, our backers kind of what they want. And the other thing too is I surround myself with people that are drastically more creative than I am. So that's one of the things, right? Like I, Boski Calhoun, who does our T-shirts, whenever we have those running, he prints those for us. I just straight up ask him, like, man, what would be cool to see? And he's like, oh, well, we can print aprons. That'd be really funny
Oh,
for a grandma. And it's like,
there
okay,
you go.
done. Let's do it, right? So
That's
that's
hilarious.
the thing, right? Because I would be doing myself and the backers a disservice if I only listened to myself.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's key, right? That's one of those things that that me and Ben are always kind of talking about is listening to the community. That's why we have a community, right?
Mhm.
Is to listen to them, to because they're the ones that are they're the ones that they're our audience. They're the ones that are telling us what they want.
Yep.
Um, so aprons, you got aprons, you got t-shirts. What else? You got toys. What's next?
I mean, I would love for God. Now this would be like the dream. Funding for a Horus like actual animated series would be sick.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Because tell everybody a little bit about you guys, because you guys have from the beginning does some amazing stuff. You guys are then what you guys collaborate with these amazing creatives, like you said, with the t-shirts, with the
mhm.
toys, with the books, and not only that, you guys have also collaborated with some amazing creatives for the trailers of the comic book.
Yeah, we Jared Dahl, who runs Prevalent Mind Studios, he has made some absolutely amazing trailers for us for every project that we've done, and then he did one too for an upcoming book that we actually have on this campaign that Kit and I created together called Mostly Dead. And Mostly Dead follows a story about a young boy named Nate whose parents die when he's really young, so he's left to be in an orphanage, and inside of that orphanage he actually finds the Book of the Dead that's hidden deep below the library, and it's kind of one of those monkey's paw, be careful what you wish for things, and it just leads on this Goonies-esque adventure, and it's just been so much fun to absolutely like just to work on this thing because it's great. It's fun. It's heartfelt. I love it. It's a lot funnier than what I'm making it out to be.
Yeah. And who's the artist on that one? Is that
It's
Kid as
Kit.
well?
Yeah, yeah. Kit
And
and I are doing that, and Carrie Salvier is the one that colors it.
fantastic work. And then so and but he's downplaying these a little bit because these trailers are freaking fantastic. They are bringing the actual work from the comic book to life, and then and then I've watched him progress and learn to do things with animation and slightly animated items and all these different things that he's done for you guys,
Mhm.
and now he's doing almost mostly all animated, isn't it?
Yeah, he's crazy, dude. Like absolutely crazy.
It's fantastic to see the
Mhm.
progression from like where it was like just cuts of the pages, and then like hinge and arm, what I think, and now he's doing these really amazing it's almost like motion graphics, right?
Yep, 100%. And his the
What's this
voice
full on
actor.
animation?
Yeah,
Yes,
dude.
yeah, this one's full on animation here, right? And
Uh,
he's doing it
yeah, I mean, even for the audio listeners, the narration on this would sum up the whole thing too.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
yeah, we can. Do we want to make an exception and play the trailer
Yeah,
with the
we
audio?
can do
yeah.
that
That's
if
this
yes.
is a first.
This is a
Why
foist.
not?
This is a first. I hope everyone appreciates the
Alan
gravity.
always wants privileges.
I do.
There was a time when the boy was happy. This was not such a time. And so, the boy became a ward of the state. The orphanage would be his home. They told him he'd be safe. But he did not feel safe. And for a time, that would be life. Chores, class, discipline, day in and day out, month after month, until one day, the secrets behind these walls refused to stay silent. I would call out to the boy, Within my pages, he will find the power to bring his parents back. They could be a family again. Well, mostly.
Yay!
And that is some of his best work. He even does some of the voice acting, like
Yeah.
most of the voice acting, like it's fantastic.
Yeah,
And
I love that trailer so much.
and it's crazy that like you guys like he's like this guy is so freaking talented. He like does different voices and you would like never know that it was the same
Mhm.
person. It's nuts. Some of
I was
these
gonna say that had to be a professional actor. That was so good.
Yeah.
it was dude, he's
I think he
done
does. I think he does like construction for a living.
yeah, you were telling me he does some of the stuff on the side, but look at
Yeah,
this
this is all a side project for him.
side project.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You've I mean, not to you're a very talented guy, but you have found some really great collaborators. I
Yeah,
mean, the
dude.
art's fantastic. That animation was off the charts.
Again, it's you find people who are better than you, right? At every facet, and I've wanted to always keep that.
Yeah, and also, you know, creating a space where people can, you know, purchase this stuff and all this stuff. So, how do you get the word out there? Obviously, we're doing stuff like this, but now that the spaces are like so limited and they're like dying off and there's people are like splintered, like how are you
Yeah.
handling it now?
Um, I mean, I think the big thing is we're just trying to keep our nose to the ground, right? Like, um, I, I try to just ignore what everyone else is doing, because I want to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, so that way we're able to deliver the best product possible, right?
Mm.
Because I think that if I get too wrapped up in what everyone else is doing, then I'm going to stress myself out,
Yeah.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with you know, because I worked with you guys on some of the first campaigns,
Hmm.
and it's a little stressful. There's always that moment you're like, oh god, we didn't get a backer, and then
Hmm.
like all right, 10 minutes to bed jump. Oh, we got a backer. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
you're like oh. You're like so I get it. It's stressful, right? And you
Yep.
want this stuff to be successful,
I mean,
especially when you're playing with this new space, right?
well, yeah, well, and especially whenever you're investing so much of your own time and money into this thing
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
right? Like
Mm,
that's the big thing. That's the big caveat, right? Like it's like, we all love comic books. That's why we got into this independent space in the first place. It's great.
mm.
But it's also a very expensive hobby. Very expensive. I thought playing Magic the Gathering was expensive.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my god. Like this dwarfs it in comparison.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
Like
gotta
it is
sell it. You gotta sell one of
crazy.
your children to get a book made.
Dude, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, man, like I said,
So
it's
so on average,
yeah.
you've done a few of these. On average, what has it taken for you to make a book from beginning to end?
What is it? What does it take for me to do
Yeah.
this or
What would it take? You know, let's talk a little bit about monetary value. When it takes what does it take to make a book?
uh a lot of money. Um so the big thing is you I've told
Let's say on average, how what did it take you guys to do Grandma Chainsaw 1?
oh my god.
And then to finish it off because
I mean,
you
you at
guys have
least
finished that
need
series.
you at least need like 4 or 5 grand set aside, right? Like for like your printing, your shipping, to pay your artist, to pay for your lettering, to pay for the builds for the book, all this stuff. Like it doesn't just stop at that. And that's
And
something
that's
that
on
I've
the
had to
lower side of things.
right. And that's
Mhm.
stuff that I've had to learn, right? Like it doesn't just stop here or here. It
Mhm.
it just keeps going and keeps building and collecting, which is cool. Like, don't get me wrong, right? I don't want to sound like I'm like discouraging anything or whatever, but like, you really have to be, you got to be ready for it. And you got to be ready for those expenses too.
Yeah, it's a labor of love, right?
1,000,000% it's a labor of love. Like that's like Joey, that's the best way to word it, right? It's a labor of love. And just like in real life, whenever someone gives birth to a baby during labor, it hurts. So this also hurts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It can hurt, and then
Mhm.
yeah, man, it takes a big toll. And when you put these things out there, right? You have to like all these things. We're looking at these all these different collaborators that you guys have, and you have all these amazing things. It took you guys a little while to get to break a 10K campaign, right? And to
Yeah,
get there. So
Focus
this is
Focus 4 was our first 10K break.
Pocus 4, number 4,
Mhm.
and that's a 6 issue book, right?
No, it's as of right now it's going to be 8.
8. So
Yeah.
8. And what issues? How many issues are guys on there?
We're on 6 now.
So 6.
Hmm.
So that tells you guys a little bit. It takes you guys a little bit of time to build up that audience, build up that
Hmm.
time to kind of gain that speed, gain that traction.
100%.
So what did you guys do to keep going there? Since it took you guys a handful of different campaigns to get there.
Just keep going. I mean, like that's I know
Why?
it sounds
Why did you guys keep going? Why did Alan keep
because I'm
going?
stupid. Like I mean, I don't know what else you want from me, Joey. I'm stupid and I'm bad with
Because I've
money.
asked you these things before. I want
Yeah.
something new. Let's
No,
talk about why Alan
I'm
did why.
because I don't know. It's just you care, right? Like
Okay.
you like what you do, and you want it to go well, and you care, and you just want to put something out there that you can just genuinely be happy and proud of, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what I mean. That's why you do it, right? Like
Yeah. There you go.
you're fans of comic books in the first place.
That's the
Yeah.
reason, right? And that's right. I love that you said of all those things, not one of those things did you say fame, to get my name out there, me,
Mhm.
me, 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 right?
Right.
It was
I mean, it's
about
not it's
it
not
was
about that. Like, and
but,
if that is your why, I mean, hey, I don't care. Like,
whatever. More
yeah,
power to
do
you,
it.
but
Yeah, do it. And if you're not focused solely on that, it will come. I promise. Right?
love that.
Like,
Yeah.
you you'll have that notoriety and you'll have all
You're
that
bringing
other
out
stuff.
those ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about those toys. So because we want to know, how did you guys get into this production stuff with this, and without giving away too much about, like, behind the scenes and production costs and the things of that nature, because we don't want to, we don't want the people to see who the wizard is just yet, right? So 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 let's talk a little bit about, as much as we can, but talk to us a little bit about how this came about, and how this partnership has been working with you guys, and have what kind of success you've seen with this.
Um. So I did a lot of research, of course, to figure out like where like and that's the thing too, right? Like utilize your people. Um because you may or may not know certain skill sets because you never asked the skill sets, right? Like I just had people on the team if they knew anything about 3D design, and they're like,
Okay.
"Yeah, I do," and it's like, "Oh, no shit." Okay, so this is what we're doing. This is what I'd like to
Number
do.
one, that's really hard to find.
Yeah,
Anybody who does three, and then when you do find them, it's like it's really hard to find somebody
never
who's
let
not
them go.
asking for an arm and a leg, right?
Yeah,
Seriously,
right.
because it's expensive.
Oh, dude, expensive is that's a very you're underselling it, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, so we found people on the team that already knew how to do it, so it made our jobs way easier to take it to the designing phase. So whenever you go to
Wow.
design something like this, you have to give them everything ahead of time, and I didn't know that, right? Like you have to give them that God, they want everything. Like they need the 3D render, they need to know how big it's going to be. Like the 3D render has to be like 100% complete before they'll even want to touch the thing,
Mhm.
because they
Yeah.
cannot give you an accurate quote if you don't give them that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
That That's so interesting because so you need to have it. So what does that look like for a whole 3D render if it was finished? You got to have it. What are the different phases? So if somebody was coming to you and saying, "Hey, I want to do this. How do I
Mhm.
get this person to come up with that so that I can send this off to them?"
Well, I mean, they have to have like literally, it looks like a video game, right? Like, you see like the behind the scenes stuff on video
Hmm.
games and everything. That's literally what it looks like. You have to have the model done front to back, side to side, however you want to look at it, right?
And
The
if
whole
somebody out there, if you've ever played with some of the 3D kind of software out there, like Adobe and things of that nature,
Mhm.
um, it's a grid system, right? And you kind of turn, and you can use the different tools to kind of turn it and build it and shape it.
Yeah, so then you also need the dimensions for your weapons too, or any
Yeah,
accessories.
keep
So the one thing that we
mad
talked about,
skills.
why Horus was perfect for this is because I mean we didn't save I mean I guess we saved money because Horus is monochromatic. So
Mm.
we just needed one color for them to purchase and that was pink. Done. Right? That's it. So they airbrush or run it through the latex printing in
Hmm.
pink and that's it. It's done. We didn't have different like shadings and well this part's blue but this part's like a little bit of an
Yeah.
off blue stuff like that, right? So we got very very lucky with the color scheme early. I mean obviously making Horus that color was not premeditated, you know, like it just happened. We weren't like being like, man, I can't wait for this to be our toy design one
Yeah.
day. But yeah, so and obviously having the eyes black with just some white in it did us a
Hmm.
lot of favors too. So yeah,
So what I'm hearing is keeping it simple. Keeping your render simple. Don't have these crazy intricate different color schemes. You can. I mean, more power to you. But uh, so keeping it very simple, easy,
100%.
so that it obviously keeps the cost very low as well. Number one, and then you everybody loves it when it's easy. Your job's really fast and easy and quick, and you're just like, cool, okay, I could just flip that real fast. This is what it is. So when that is the best job that you can ever get. Honestly, like is like somebody gives you your like everything that you need, and you're like, yes, I wish every freaking job was like that. So when people are saying this, make sure you guys are sending that to your contractor, because that is the best thing you can ever do. I
Really,
mean, Ben, you can attest to that, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was actually going to ask you. So, like, you seem you started with like a 3D model. I mean, I guess your
Mhm.
artist made some sketches probably of like here's concepts, or things
100%.
that we think would be cool.
Yeah,
Um, and then you had somebody 3D model them, and then you send them to I guess your vendor,
yeah.
see what they thought. Did you have to make a lot of changes at certain points, like from the drawing to the model, or the model to? I
Um,
assume they print directly from your model.
yeah,
That the 3D
it's
model
print.
gives them.
Yeah, it's print directly from the model. I did not have to make a lot of changes, no.
Mm,
But that was probably partially because, like I said, the people that I was dealing with, they already knew what they were doing ahead of time, right? So, and this wasn't a willy nilly like let's make toys. Like this was like we really thought about this, right?
Mm.
And what we can do and what we can't do. So this took a lot of time. This was something we've been planning since like probably Horus 2, right? When it really took off. Like I know that says like, well, you planned it since Horus 2, now it's Horus 3, but like there's been like a year in between the books, right? Because we were doing other projects and everything like that. So again, we wanted to really make sure that we got it right. And that was no exception with this either.
Right.
Yeah, so like
Mhm.
basically a year's worth of planning just to kind of get this done in a way that's like just feasible from a cost perspective, I guess.
Mhm.
For everybody. Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Mhm.
That's wild. But man, it turned out awesome.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it, dude. And like I said too, we didn't want to do any 3D printing, right? We wanted to make sure that like whenever you had the product, it's like, okay, this feels great. This is it. Like I don't know. Again, we just wanted to make sure
Mhm.
at every stage we got it right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
think they did.
that's what you can, that is one of those things, right? You make a you make a choice. And I'm always talking about like making an act like a solidified choice about what you're going to do and thinking about it. And that's some of the best advice that I've ever gotten was again, I'm going to go back to talking about like don't have too many, too many things on your plate or too many irons in the fire, right? And when you do have one at a time and focus on that thing and wait till it's hot, and when it's hot, then you can, mold it and shape it how you need to. And then once you get everything all set and ready to go, and that one's running on its own, or however that thing's going, then you have time to focus on something different now, like, because all the crazy headaches are done and handled, and it's, hopefully working on its own. And then now you can focus on other things that you can move forward and move your brand forward, right? So how do you feel that this is moving the brand forward with Chorus to kind of move you guys into the next phase to get to animation, toys, um, video games?
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. So, I've already thought about it. Like for the video game thing, like
Okay,
I would absolutely love to have like a Castlevania like side scroller with Horus. I just thought that
okay.
that'd just be so cool, right?
Mm.
Yeah, I think
And
that'd
I
just
and I
be.
know somebody in the team dabbles with a little bit of that, don't
Yep.
they?
I'm sure, dude. Listen, I'm sure they do. I haven't asked because I don't want to ask
I think I
because
know one of the people. I've seen something. I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe it was
Well,
something you're playing
here's
with.
the thing. I don't want anyone to tell me that they do or that don't because I don't want to spend the money on it. So, like, I'd rather them just keep it to them damn selves and then I worry about it later.
Well,
Open up that Pandora's box.
it's not too unreasonable because I kind of want to do the same thing for August. I've had this idea for a few years now for like basically a side scroller, kind of in the style of Super Star Wars, where it's a little run and shoot, but some fun stuff in between.
Mhm.
And
Ben's been playing with some
you
stuff
could,
lately, right, Ben?
yeah. Well, you could actually. Unreal's not that hard to learn. I'm trying to get into that this year when I have some time. But there's so many resources out there for that stuff. It's not, especially if it's a game you're not reinventing the wheel and you're not making Grand Theft Auto. You're not building a
Yeah, yeah,
city,
yeah.
an open world game. Yeah, that's not. I think that's kind of within. It's certainly not going to be like cheap or super easy, but it's not like unthinkable
Right.
at this
He
point.
says
So yeah, who knows?
it's not that
Yeah.
hard to learn. Listen, I gotta tell you guys, Ben, for a living, he does videos and trailers and video ads and things of that nature, and he does it like, if like out it what takes me like days takes him minutes. Like, so don't let him undersell that. Like, to him, I'm sure that's real easy and comes real easy, pal. But for us
No, I'm not
regular
saying it's
people,
easy or that I could sit down and do it, but it's not something like when you were in the 80s to like say, "Oh, I'm going to have a Nintendo game made of my account." That's just like, okay, you need like 50 people and
Yeah.
different countries, and
yeah,
it's a little
yeah,
more
it
DIY
makes
now.
it's easier to get your, or yeah, you're right. We have these really cool tools like, yeah, like the Unreal Engine and all these really cool 3D modeling things, right? So, because like, if we were talking about doing this in the 90s, we would have never been able to find somebody on your creative team that knows how to do this, because then because you'd
Mhm.
have to, it was a different way of doing things. Now now, because of all this different stuff, yes, we have all these really cool different resources and different things to learn, right? And
Mhm.
different ways to do this stuff. So very, very cool. We're a little bit over time. I don't want to go too
Yeah.
far. But Alan, if you need to get going, you can please go ahead and do that. Let everybody where they can find you, all that stuff. Let everybody know where they can do all that good stuff and find the
Yeah,
Kickstarter.
the best thing to do, honestly, is just follow our newsletter, topatstudios.substack.com, or just honestly just follow us on Kickstarter, because you'll get notified anytime we launch, and you can see
Is it
all the stupid
Rabbit and
stuff.
Hat, right?
On the Substack, it's still Top Hat Studios.
Is
Still
it?
got to change
Oh,
it,
okay.
but yeah,
Well,
whatever.
whatever.
But yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, for real though, just follow us here on Kickstarter, and that way, like I said, we've created 15 projects now, which is kind of crazy to think about.
That's fantastic, dude.
That's-
That's pretty
yeah.
cool. Pretty awesome. And all of them are successful. right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
fun and exciting, all kinds of really good stuff. If you need to get going, dude, you feel free to just go ahead. We're gonna hang out just for a couple minutes longer to talk a little bit about some of the other projects that are going on right now.
Yeah, I do need
Um,
to go and jet. I got to do some stuff for work
yeah,
for tomorrow, so I'll catch you guys later.
Sounds
see
good.
you guys.
Alan,
See
it
you
was
later, man.
great to
Thanks.
have you, man. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming by.
no, I appreciate you guys for everything y'all do. I'll talk to you later.
See you later.
Talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
All right. I guess
So
it is
Ben,
time for.
yeah,
Oh,
let's talk.
go for
Do
it.
it up. Do it up. So I'm sorry. I forget you have a
Oh,
new segment. Go for it.
I do. I'm so excited, man. I'm excited for the comics roundup. So let's get it going.
All
All
right.
right.
What's up first on the
So
roundup?
let's start with the collector's packs.
So this one is one of our projects here. We're going to be doing a Make 100 trading card collector pack that goes along with our magazine, which is an anthology magazine where we have people drop if 8 to 10 page comics, full length short comics, and then we do articles inside. So what we did was we had first two issues that were successful on Kickstarter. We did both of those in 2024, and we're taking some of the characters from both of those issues and turning them into some cards. And what you're going to be getting is you're going to be getting 3 common, 1 special, which is going to be a standard card stock, glow in the dark, and then you're going to also have a 1 in 5 chance to find yourself a glow in the dark metal card. We have 2 different designs there. They're limited to 10 each. So if you get 5 of these packs, you're almost guaranteed that you're going to be getting one of those cards. And there is going to be a chance that you may not get them, but all 20 of those glow in the dark metal cards will be put into somebody's pack. So if there's only 20 people who buy them, then everyone gets one, right? We'll see how it goes. Because that's how we're going. I don't want to keep any of these laying around. I want all those metal cards to go out to somebody. So make sure you guys are following the campaign by going over to gatecollective.net/cards and hitting notify me on launch, because we're going to be going live. I'm going to tell you guys because you guys are here. We're going to be going live next week, this coming week. So check it out. Hit that. We're at 30 followers now. We want to get to 40, 50 followers, and then if we can get there, we can get this thing funded. We're only going to be asking for $600 on this thing, because we're only going to fund the cards to get made and to ship them, and then we just want this really fun thing that we're going to be doing. But there's going to be another side of it. We're also going to be doing some creator series cards with some other campaigns, and the way that you can get that is if you back our campaigns and theirs at the same time. You can back 2 at a time or 3 of them, and you'll be able to collect some really cool one of a kind cards that go along with their campaigns and their characters. And we're going to make some really cool trading card booster packaging for those as well. And you guys are going to get those, and they're going to be really special, cool looking cards and packaging. And we're going to do some really cool stuff, collaborative stuff with those as well. Very soon, we're not going to announce what we're going to do with those creator series, but not quite yet. But we're going to do something else with this thing going. We're going to keep this collector pack stuff going. Did you used to collect cards back in the day, Ben?
Oh, 100%, man. I still have some of them. Love the X-Men series. Batman the movie was one of my favorites. That was a great
Oh
series.
yeah,
The
I love.
any of the Marvel decks, the DC had a good one. I mean, yeah, I couldn't get enough of that stuff.
My brother has these really cool. It's almost like these holographic, but like it's like when you turn them, they actually almost look 3D, and
Mhm.
they're like crazy. Like I wish I could find somewhere that we can get something like that printed. That would be so
That would be
freaking cool,
something.
dude. That would be
I
so
know that they
freaking
had when they did those. You remember the X-Men covers that were they had like the hologram card size thing. It was
cool.
Magneto came back. It was like maybe X-Men 20 or something like that, and it ran through all the X books. But they literally had to make like a sculpture, photograph it from a ton of different angles somehow, and then they had.
Wow.
Um, so I assume the process is digital, but
Mhm.
fundamentally the same. Man, there
Yeah.
would be a ton of stuff into that, but it would be
Right.
awesome.
Right. It'd be so freaking cool because yeah, you got so many of those layers, and you got some pieces that kind of come out. Yeah, it'd be really cool to see. But
Yeah,
yeah, we're
it's
gonna be
over
doing
with cable.
stuff. Yeah, I used to collect cards too when I was a kid, and I had a bunch of baseball cards. I had some really cool old school. I think I remember I had like a Jerry Rice card and a Steve Young card. And for the life of me, I can't remember if they were rookie cards, but I don't think they were because I would have known then, and it would have been a big deal. But I don't think it was a big deal, so I don't think I made a big deal out of it. So I don't think it was. But it was. But to me, it was pretty freaking cool because those things were so cool. Sometimes they had these. There was just a piece of it that had like this hollow foil like piece of it, or
Hmm.
like this really cool hollow graphic area, right? So because I love that, I wanted to create something like that, and then I wanted some kind of collectability, and then some way that we can collaborate with creators. So I think we came up with a really cool thing, and we're going to be launching very soon, and we'll talk to you guys about that more. But what else we got?
Well, one quick question from BMD Nerd: when is Archetypes 2 coming out?
Archetypes 2, that is, we are with that one's funded. We are in the process of putting that one together. We are waiting on colors and letters for 2 different books right now, and then we're going to be. Do we have a couple of interviews that we're going to be conducting? It's a little difficult for us to conduct one of those interviews because one of the creators lives in Italy, so we have to really be delicate with our timing. And I have little ones, so it's really hard to get because when I'm waking up, he's going to bed. so so we got to be real delicate with our timing and with that one, but it's coming out soon, I promise. And we're still on track for a mid-February to late February printing. I hope I'm going to be reaching out to some of the creators to get us some of the letters and the colors and see where they're at with those. So I'm hoping they gave them 26 days in the new year. I think that's enough for, for me to be like, all right, guys, where are we at now? So, they're all amazing creators, but you guys got to remember, we had we had 10 comics, 10 articles. That was a lot of creative teams to wrangle. So, we're getting our ropes and wrangle them together, and we're gonna hope and make sure that we get that for you guys. Most of everything is in the files. I'm putting it together, and then we're waiting for those comics to be done. So they're coming out, I promise. And then so that's going to be going. We're going to run these cards, and then I want to probably give you guys some really cool stuff. Some of the people who got those books, I'm probably going to throw you guys a really cool um uh rare card or something like that to go with it. So we got a handful of things because we I owe the people from Archetypes 1 cards because those got lost in the mail. I don't think I ever told you about that, man. They're still lost
Oh,
in the
you
mail
told
to
me.
this day.
You
They're
told I knew the beginning of the story. Yeah, you're chasing around Arizona trying to
I'm,
find the truck with the cards in them. But
dude, I'm so mad, and still to this day they are still lost.
oh
Like,
man,
I don't know where they are. I even reached out to the people there and said, "I don't. We don't know where it is either." And then they were like, "I love them. I love them. We're gonna probably use them again soon." But they wanted to charge me again for the cards all over again, like another $200. I said, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Wasn't my anyway, big deal." But that's things happen, right? But it's on its way. I appreciate you asking. I'm gonna give you guys a update here. I'll write one out up here in the next week for you guys, letting you guys know about that. What else do we got going on?
sounds good. Next one, I want to do American Yakuza, where like
Yeah,
Horse in Hell, it's number 3 of an ongoing story. This is a really fun book. It's an MMA fighter who ends up getting caught up in some Yakuza stuff in Japan. It's a fun book. It's a funny book, and you can get my cover, which is down here as one of the variants. It was a lot of fun to work on this. We've been doing series of the main characters, kind of just centered as kind of character shots. This one was really fun to work on. And in addition, got to bring in a weapon from one of my favorite Batman comics. We were kind of getting to
yeah.
the end of the cover, looking for ways to make it a little more, of the environment, and dug up, I think, Batman 413, which features this thing, and gave it to our character here. So a lot of
And then you
fun. And
then you even bought one and trained with it, didn't you?
oh yeah, are the marks visible? I thought I painted over them, but yeah, a few slashes in the wall. It's you probably don't want to do that in a room with nice stuff.
Yeah,
This is
there
something I
you
learned.
go.
Yeah. But great book. This covers by the regular artist. I mean, this thing is just beautiful. The colors
Yeah,
are great. The drawing's great. And then you can see the interiors are just really solid as well. So
I love
definitely
what he's
check
doing with
this
this
one out.
series. Yeah, I love this series.
Yeah.
that he's doing. Yeah, it's very cool stuff.
Yeah, it's a great great book for our friend Charlie McKelvey and his team. But
Very cool.
move on to Hunters of the Outer Realm.
Hunters of the Outer Realm. This is awesome. Oh, you need to scroll down. Look what I did. Look at. It's cool. Okay.
Oh,
Hunters of the Outer
that's it.
Realm. Go ahead. Can you read that for me?
I can.
Because I
Hunters of
can't.
the Outer Realm is a 30-page full-color comic book written by C.J. Hudson of Interstellar Dust and A Tiny Island, with eye-popping interior art by Colin Fogel of Hazel. Additional covers from the talents of Elisa Ramboli, You Never Heard of Me, A Thing Called Truth, and Siegfried, Among the Stars.
Yeah, it's the fantastic artwork. There's gonna be, I believe, 5 covers. You can get a alternate version of the cover A with a different title, and then you can get cover A, B, C, and then cover D is like a virgin cover. Then and then the cover E, A, B, C, D, E. Yep, that's how. Yep, because I know how my letters. E is a risque cover of that virgin cover there. So I'm definitely gonna want to check that one out. Because if you like some risque covers, this is a gorgeous one. The interiors though are freaking fantastic.
Oh, it's
Um,
unreal.
it's
Unreal.
so cool. So here's the thing. I'm gonna tell everybody there. He was looking at this page, and he was looking like when we were building it and all this stuff because we were helping him build out the page. And CJ was like, I don't like the letters. We're gonna fix the letters." So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, CJ." So he's gonna go back and pay for re-lettering. So, so
Wow.
you guys are gonna get some really awesome lettering with this too. So he really hate. I don't know. I don't want to say hate it because we don't want to ever talk down on anybody's work or talent, right? Because it does take a talent to learn lettering. Oh my gosh, I've tried it and I'm like, that's too much of a headache. It's a whole freaking thing to learn, dude. Um, so more power to people who freaking letter. Like I don't like. It's a nightmare, dude. You letter, it's a nightmare.
I do. It's longer. It's not as you think, oh, this will take 10 minutes and maybe
Nope.
a splash page. But yeah, no, it's you'll sit down, think this should be real easy,
Listen,
and
it's not
4 or
just
5
putting
hours will go
bubbles
by.
next to
It
people's
takes a while.
face. It's not just about putting bubbles next to their mouth or their face. It's literally there's like a science to like where the bubbles should go and what they look like and how many like words and you should put inside them, like, and how much
Ooh,
like the way they sit when you read them, and they got to look a certain way, and you got to have certain. It's it's a whole thing.
it's a lot of work. It's a
It's a
lot of
whole
work.
thing. It's a whole thing. So, I don't take lettering for granted. Super super cool talent. I love it. But I don't know if I could do it. It seems
Yeah.
fun. It like when you do it, it's super fun looking at it and coming back and being like, dude, I did that. But it's a lot of work. Um,
So much of it is just problem solving. I mean, logistically, okay, this made sense. This guy talks first, but he's on the side of the panel. So
mhm.
the unsung heroes of comics, definitely.
And sometimes you have to edit when you're doing it too, because you're like, okay,
Hmm.
well, that doesn't work with this area. You got to cut it down or fix it. So like, there's sometimes they are the last editor to the book.
Yeah,
So you got to
100%.
really
Well,
trust your letterer.
you
um,
do. You do. It's an important part of the process. And this art is just so cool.
yeah, very cool, very cool. What does this remind you of?
Two things. I've seen this illustration style a lot in kind of just stuff that's more editorials. You see stuff like this in like, articles and things like that. What's really cool about it is this reminds me a lot of Battle Chasers, Joe Madureira.
Mhm.
But it's not just that. It's also got this kind of like color saturated feel. Like I said, that's kind of a good illustration style that I've never seen in comics, but kind of combining that with the graphic stuff they're doing that does feel very comic booky. It doesn't feel like
Feels, you know what
there's
it feels like?
sometimes.
It feels like a
Oh,
video game in a comic book
oh,
format.
sure.
I don't know if
Oh,
that.
100%. Yeah. No, a lot of these shots, this one especially right here, reminds me of a Steam game. I don't know which one, but I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen something like that before.
That's what I've
Um,
always I'm like, I feel like every time I see this, I'm like, I feel like I know this. And I
yeah.
love that with CJ's work. There a lot of times that's kind of what you get with CJ's work. There's a section in the actual page that says who's this for? You're gonna get people who will love sci-fi action like
Mhm.
Starship Troopers, Alien, maybe. Big monster hunter films like Pacific Rim, maybe Godzilla. Um, definitely action packed. Like there's literally, I'm gonna give one thing away. Somebody gets eaten by a monster. So I will not tell you if they live or not.
That's
You're gonna have to
hardly a
find out.
spoiler, but
you're gonna you're gonna have to figure it out. But no, there's some gorgeous artwork, gorgeous stuff, and true CJ fashion. He's gonna have at least 6 covers.
yeah, CJ always has some great artwork on his books. I'm not just saying that
Yeah,
because I've done some cover for him, but
yeah,
not on this one. But the yeah, just really beautiful stuff. And I think this is sometimes I see artwork for Kickstarter books or just either or other indie comic books, and it's like it's solid stuff. The work is good, but there's something about it that's like I want comic books to look like comic books. It's a little closed minded of me, but there's a language to it that when it gets a little bit too far from that, I'm like, this doesn't feel. I'm not engaged in the same way I am
hmm
with something that's more traditional. I think this is a great example of something that's bringing in a lot of new stuff, but it still has like this still feels like I don't look at this and think like, oh,
yeah,
this is a little off. This is like I've seen a lot of comics with like 3D renderings in them that were heavily used 3D, and it's like
yeah, yeah.
it's cool. Even when it's really well done, I'm like, yeah, it just isn't quite
Mm,
right. This is something that's different, totally fits, it's totally
yeah.
congruent.
It feels like 90s to me. Like I don't
Yeah,
know why, like 90s. Like maybe you get a little bit of some of the hairstyles are very reminiscent to
yeah, they are.
like Goku or like Dragon Ball, right?
Mhm.
Some of the body types are very 90s video game, right? Like
Yeah,
the way they look. So I'm here for it. I'm here for this all day.
no,
Um
I'm pumped for this one. Good
and then
stuff.
you get I mean, come on, you get freaking it's like big game hunters. Basically, this is a space cowboy freaking story. I'm down for a good space cowboy story all the time.
100%. So, like all the other books we're showing, if you're on YouTube watching us now or later, head right down to that description. You can click right over to these campaigns and get on the pre-launch list. And I think one last book left is mine, unless there's anything else we got.
No,
All right.
well
So head on.
we do have one more, but it's a pre-launch, so I'll talk about it in a second.
Okay. This one's also pre-launch, but the next We Are Scarlet Twilight is coming out soon. Just got word from the printer that they're going to send those out probably tomorrow. So we'll be
Oh,
fulfilling
cool.
after that, and I'll be ready to launch this one really soon. So just want to finish up that first issue so that when you back it and we've launched a campaign, you can just message me and get your first issue right away. Doing really good on the pre-launch, so getting ready to go there. We're also almost done with the cover one, so hopefully can reveal that next week.
Very
I've
cool.
got most of the inks done, but really pumped for this one to come together and share more of that. So, just a little bit about the book. If you haven't heard me talk about it before, it's basic. We Are Scarlet Twilight is a really pulp adventure story mixed with some modern comic elements. This next chapter picks up with the story, but basically takes your DC Crisis on Infinite Earths or Marvel's Secret Wars, that type of story, the big crossover event, and mixes it with the vibe of the Golden Age comics from the 1940s. So if you like the pulp adventure stuff, if you like Batman the Animated Series, if you like Flash Gordon, or if you like those big events with the continuity changes and all the fun stuff that goes with that, combining universes, this is a book you're really going to like. I think it's some of those things I've mentioned done in a way that nobody's really combined before. So I'm really pumped to get this one going and out to people.
Very cool.
All right.
And
And
then
anything else?
we have I sent you the link in the chat. We have
Oh, okay.
Band of Bards is going to be dropping a Make 100 as well, and they're going to be doing a pin, an enamel pin.
All right.
Dude, I've always kind of wanted to do an enamel pin campaign. I don't know if you ever kind of thought about doing something like that, or like
Yeah,
a
it'd be
merch
cool.
campaign or something. So this
All
one,
right.
so Band of Bards has this motto that they kind of go by, which is comics doing good, and basically comics doing good to them kind of means like elevating the independent creative voice, making sure that the community is always growing and being mindful of grassroots kind of uh place, right, and also um uh being and making sure that that everything that Band of Bards does, it involves diversity, equity, and inclusion, because lots of those people everybody wants to erase that these days. So we want to make sure that people know that we're always going to be part of that. We're always going to embrace that, and the way we can do that is by making sure that people know that comics can do good. And a lot of times I mean, there's people out there that have stories that talk about, how comics save their lives, or people say, comics break your heart, or comics will save you, and all this really fun stuff that people really like to kind of use play on words with. But there's people out there that you really have had this really cool story where comics did good in their life, and that's kind of what we this is all about. So this is kind of a celebration for everybody to, kind of show comics, what comics has done in their life, or what comics can do for someone else. I mean, I'm sure you've got some fun stories about stuff like that. I've got a couple of stories where comics touch my heart, and comics have touched somebody else's heart too. So, I mean, that's why I love comics. I mean, I don't know about you, Ben.
No, that's absolutely. I mean, I think that's it is easy to focus on some of the bad stuff, and I think the phrase brings that "comics will break your heart, kid" quote to mind. But I think it's a good play on that, and it's worth saying. This is a really cool looking pin. I love that logo. I love the
Yeah.
colors. That's just going to look good on some of your stuff.
Yeah, this is gonna be, so the gold here you see is gonna be a gold plating, I believe, and then you got that red and that black color. There's those two-tone colors. Um, and then so this was designed by the chief operating officer and publisher of Band of Bards, Chris Benamati. So there is also one of the first co-creators of Band of Bards, and then so so he designed this, but what's really cool about this thing is that they're going to give opportunities for other people to create a brand new pin each year that they roll this out, because they want this to be kind of like a yearly campaign. So they're gonna take people's submissions for art to do this, and then they're gonna pick somebody to do the art. I don't know all the details, right? So, but once they get all the details and all that stuff going, who knows? It could be monetary value or whatever they decide. We'll have to figure that out when talk to them about it. But they're going to be offering this really cool opportunity for other people to design the campaign, or design the pin for the campaign, and then everybody gets to wear that really cool pin, so that it doesn't, you can have a brand new one each year, and then maybe you buy one for someone else, or however you want to do it. It comes with a really cool backer card, in case you want to keep it collectible. You can hang it up, and it's got this really cool backer card, and the backer card is going to have brand new artwork as well each year as well. So very cool opportunity. Another really cool opportunity, because comics doing good, is this kind of thing that they're kind of building off of, right? They want to build this campaign to be something bigger. So this not to go along, not to be part of the campaign itself, the Kickstarter campaign itself, but something that goes alongside with it, is that they're going to offer sometime in the near future, once they get all the ducks in order, they're going to offer a really cool an art grant, or some kind of really cool grant for creators to apply for this. That doesn't mean that this is going to be a contest. This will not be part of Kickstarter whatsoever. It's going to be something completely independent on its own. And once they have all the details for that and everything secured, then we're gonna be talking a little bit about that, and rolling it out, so that everybody knows a little bit about that. But it's another opportunity to give back, so that people can also have opportunities to create stuff that they want to create, put out there, right? Because one of the hardest things for a creator to get is funding to make the stuff. We were talking about it with Alan a little bit, about how hard it is to get some of this stuff and how much money it takes. So that's another opportunity for them to give back, and another reason for comics doing good. So very cool.
Cool.
That's all I got.
I think that wraps it up for the week.
Very cool,
All
man.
right. Well, so everybody watching, we had a great time talking to Alan about Horus and Hell. It's a really cool looking book. Those toys are amazing. And I hope that you all have had a really good time watching it with us. So that's it for this week, and we'll see you next week with some more great comics and great creators.
Bye.